friends, I just wanted to do a quick little video, and then I'm going to do another one walking through some of the homework problems and stuff. But big picture takeaway for linear equations review for Algebra 2. The main thing that I want you guys to look at is basically how a line moves. So all of these are lines, and what I really wanted to have was our big graph chart and a ruler. So on a graph, when we have our origin, so we have our y-axis and we have our x-axis. And you guys can get graph paper. Most of the assignments already have your graph paper with them, or you can just draw your own little graph for it. So you have your origin. When you are going through each point, so you've got point 1, 1, point 2, 2, 3, 3, and you are going up. I was talking about in the video that this is a 45-degree angle. So you are equal. You have equal amounts on the x, equal amounts on the y. That is a y equals x line. Okay, that is a function, a y equals x function, y equals x equation. So your line is going to be at a 45-degree angle, okay? As your coefficient of x, so we have our standard or our form here. So our standard form is x plus y equals some constant, right? So we move it over. So we have y and we have x and we have some constant here. So whenever you add a constant onto the end, okay, this is your y-intercept. An extra number on the end of your y equals x equation is going to take your line and move it either up or down. Okay, so that's the direction that it goes. So this constant automatically tells us that we either go up or we go down. So if your constant is positive, then you're going to go up. So if my constant was plus 3, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to know that my line is going to cross here. So I'm just moving it up. If my constant were a negative 3, I would go down 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so our equation is telling us how to move our line. Again, we're going to start back at that y equals x equation. If I have a constant, I'm going to move up if it's positive. I'm going to move down if it's negative. Now, the other way that we move our line is we're going to keep it right here with the y equals x, 45. This is where you start out. If your coefficient for your x value, okay, if it is greater than 1, so a lot of times I'll write 8x. If a is greater than 1, then the slope or the steepness of your line is going to get greater, okay? So the bigger the number is, the steeper your line will get. So if it's 2, then we're going to be at 1, 2. If it's 3, that means we're going to be at 1, 3. Okay, so the greater your coefficient gets, the steeper your line becomes. So again, initially we start at that 45. We're going to look at our coefficient. If it's greater than 1, we know it's going to be steeper. If I have a positive constant, I'm going to move it up. Okay, now if your coefficient goes all the way and you have undefined, where you have an a that is divided by a 0, okay? It also will look like not having a y value. So you may have 0 equals 2x plus 2. Okay, so we have no y value. That is a vertical line. That says that no matter what I put in, okay, my y values, like, doesn't matter what I've got for my y value here, okay? So I'm going to have a completely vertical line. It has no slope. It's called undefined. So it's going straight up and down. Now, if my a value starts going down, again, we're going to start right here at our a value is 1. If it starts going down below 1, but not 0, so we start having halves like 3/4 or 1/2. The smaller it gets, then that slope is going to get shallower and shallower, okay? All the way until you end up with a slope of 0. So then that's simply like a y equals 2 value. Okay, on this one, this would be y equals 0 because it's at the origin. So when my y value is the same, doesn't matter what my x is, I have no slope is 0. Same thing for when this is negative. When a is negative, that means that my slope is now rolling down the hill, and it works exactly the same. The bigger it is, if it's negative more than 1, it's going to be a really steep downhill. We go back to that 45-degree angle here. If it is between 0 and 1, it's going to be a shallower, but still negative slope down the hill. Okay, so that's what we want to be thinking about, is how this specific coefficient for x affects the steepness or the direction of our line. And if there is a coefficient at the end, or if there's a constant at the end that it is changing our entire graph, and it is shifting our graph either up or down.